Okay, so welcome to part two. So I'm gonna blend out my concealer. I do recommend a powder puff to blend out your concealer because I feel like it blends out the concealer like more seamlessly, and it gives you a more like it gives you a nicer finish versus if you were to blend it out with a brush. That's just my opinion because I have done a brush before, but I don't know, I don't like the brush. So I do recommend you using a powder puff to blend the concealer out. So like I told y'all in part one, I use the Essence Keep Me Covered concealer, and this is just to conceal. um this is not to highlight, and you guys also need to understand the importance of product placement. I do see like a lot of girls on TikTok, like they be wanting that full glam makeup look, but it's like you need to put a lot of product, not a lot of product, but you have to put on a good amount of product for you to get that type of coverage. Like I see a lot of people doing the dots of concealer, and I'm just like, it's only so much you're gonna get with that. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so now to highlight, I use the Sephora Best Skin Ever foundation, or I would use my NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer. And for my highlighting concealer, I put it like up here, kind of like that, like close to my inner corners. Okay, so now we're up to cream contour. I do use a small brush to do this because I do use a very messy foundation to cream contour. And it's very dark, so I don't need a lot. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit and I'll put it right here to contour. And like I said, I don't use a lot. If I do need to use more, I'll go back. But over here, I just do like the little dots right here. Because like I said, this is darker than my skin tone and I don't need it to be looking crazy. So I just go ahead and blend that out. And you want to use a small to medium angled brush for that. And I always tell you guys to make sure you let your concealer sit so that it can set better. So as y'all can see, my contour is like very soft. I might go back and do a little bit more, but I'm just gonna see how it looks after I blend out my concealer. Okay, so to set up my concealer, I'm gonna use the Sacha Buttercup setting powder. And I'm gonna go ahead and pat it behind my hands, and this is to like avoid creasing. You don't want to go in strictly and start baking when you're setting your concealer. As y'all can see, like I see the smooth transition, like I know y'all could tell like the difference. So you don't want to you don't want to go ahead and strictly start baking because you want to give the bake something to sit on, if that makes sense. Like you want to make sure that you don't want to put too much powder on top of the concealer, because that's also going to make it crease as well. So just make sure you set everywhere that you put your concealer, like on top of my forehead, all around like your mouth, everywhere that you put the concealer, make sure you set it. Okay, so now you want to go ahead and set your concealer, and I do recommend to use a brightening powder to do that. My favorite setting powder, like one of my favorite brightening setting powders is the Laura Mercier setting powder. I do still mix that with the Sacha Buttercup powder, but you guys can comment down below some high-end setting powders because I do want to try more. But the Laura Mercier has... Okay, so make sure you guys go to part 3 so you guys can see the finished look of my face.